Good pause YouTube, 6ftHax here. Have for you guys today a pretty fun and new battle I had against Rasa. Found him on my Discord. Of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to hammer arm that like button down below. And if you guys may have missed it, I did upload my 18K special yesterday, which a link to that should be down in the description, as well as a link to this team that I got off of the forum, so you guys can go check both of those things out. Now, I know I am using a Noivern. For those of you who missed my upload from earlier today, Noivern along with 5 of the Pokemon got banned from NU recently, which is why I wanted to upload this, because this is the only NU battle I got right now with Noivern. So going into this battle, Thor Power, Calm Mind, Iron Defense, either Sub or Moonlight Necrozma literally just 6-0s this team. So Necrozma was easily #1 threat going into this match. Also, his power could be kind of a problem if it gets too many switch-ins, but over half of my team outspeeds it, so I should be able to keep it in check. It's just I don't really have a good switch into that monster. So he ends up leading off with Uxie as I lead off with my Steelix. I'm going to go straight for my Stealth Rocks, as it turns out that he's got the Yawn, so I'm going to switch into my Uxie, as I believe he goes for the Yawn again, and then not wanting to get put to sleep, I'm going to go for the U-turn as he goes for the Stealth Rocks. The fact that he's got Yawn on his Uxie is actually really annoying, because now anytime that he can expect me to switch out, he can easily predict that and pull a double switch accordingly, or I have to have a Pokemon be put to sleep, which could also be bad for me. But between my Uxie and my Steelix, I can kind of deal with this Uxie, because luckily I do have Toxic on the Steelix. If I had Roar, that may be a little bit better for Necrozma, but in this scenario, Toxic is going to be really nice because I'm going to be able to poison this Uxie. Now, while Uxie can learn Heal Bell, it's not typically common for Uxie to run Heal Bell, just because it's got a wide range of other moves that it can better run for its sets. So he's shown me Yawn and Stealth Rocks, which means he's got to have at least U-turn or knockoff, and then Psychic potentially, as he actually hard switches out here, which I found to be really interesting. And I'm going to be forced to switch out myself because I don't want my Steelix being put to sleep and expecting him to go for another Yawn. I actually switched directly into my Rotom. There was also the chance that maybe he was going to try and go for an offensive move. If he had gone for the knockoff there, that actually would have been an excellent play on his part. But because I did get the better end of these switch outs, I will be able to freely go for a Volt Switch. Kind of wished I went for the Thunderbolt, but there is a good chance that he's not going to go for the Ice Beam, so I should be able to get a relatively safe switch into my Virizion. I didn't want to risk him being potentially Assault Vested, which is why I didn't go for the Thunderbolt, because he wouldn't have gotten knocked out and then he would have just been able to annihilate me with the Dark Pulse, as now he is staring down a +1 attack Virizion, and I have no reason to not just go for the Leaf Blade. Nothing he has is going to appreciate switching into this, as it looks like I will be able to cleanly 2 KO this Uxie after Stealth Rocks and Toxic damage. But I end up making a really weird play here. I'm not sure why I switched out my Virizion. I'm thinking maybe I thought that he would try and sack off Pyukumuku, or maybe I just didn't want to get a low damage roll. I honestly don't know why I switched out. Like, I could have definitely left in Virizion there and just knocked out Uxie, judging for how much damage the Leaf Blade did. Unless I did get like an absolutely minimum low damage roll. So I guess in that sense it kind of makes sense for me to have switched out. Unfortunately, he is able to Toxic my Uxie, but it's really not that big of an issue, because at this point his Uxie is practically useless to him, so I should be able to just really go for a U-turn here, chew any move he wants to go for, or if he wants to switch out like he does here, I'll be able to get switch initiative. But he does make a good sack by sacking off his Clawitzer here, which means my Uxie is not going to be forced to stay in, which invites him to either bring in the Necrozma, the Pyroar, or potentially the Scrafty. All 3 of those are a little bit scary, just because I can't let Necrozma set up. I don't have a good switch into Pyroar, and Scrafty can annihilate me with the knockoff. Although I do have Virizion, I don't feel comfortable hard switching directly into Virizion, so on the off chance that he did decide to go straight for the knockoff or go for the setup move like he did here, I leave in my Uxie. At this point, I don't really have much use for my Uxie outside of it just being death fodder, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I thought by U-turning out, that was definitely my better play, as he does have +1 speed. But the thing about Scrafty is that even though he is at +1 speed, he doesn't have the highest base speed. So my Noivern, not being Scarf, will easily be able to come in here and in return revenge kill this Scrafty, because I am actually choice specs. There was no way a non-bulk invested Scrafty was going to live that hit, as now he can bring in this giant threat, which is Necrozma. I really thought he was going to start trying to set up here, which is why I hard switch right into my Rotom, because if necessary I can go straight for the trick and shut this thing down. But it turns out that he's got the Charge Beam, which I'm not gonna lie, that in itself is a little bit scary, because now he's at +1 special attack. He's got the Prism Armor, so I can't knock him out with any of my moves from Rotom, so I'm gonna be forced to go for the Volt Switch and Volt Switch on out into my Steelix, hoping that he wouldn't have anything to potentially beat me with. There's also the chance that he could still have another setup move like Shift Gear or Rock Polish, so that in itself could be a little bit scary as well, because that means he's gonna get his store power still boosted if he has it. But I think he just went for the Psyshock, so it's good to know that he doesn't have the store power, as he then reveals to have the Dark Pulse, which did catch me off guard, because I ended up going for the Earthquake here thinking I can put it in range of where I can easily revenge kill it. But it turns out that he's got the Guave Berry, which is basically a citrus berry, and that is a little bit bad, because now this thing is potentially out of range of where I can revenge kill him with one of my other Pokemon. So hoping that maybe I could live this hit, I tried to go for the Earthquake again. Unfortunately though, he is able to knock me out, but this does give me a free switch into my Noivern, sorry, which even if I'm not able to knock him out with the Specs Draco Meteor, I will definitely put him in range of where he can be revenge killed by one of my other Pokemon. And he knows this, so he's going to make a good sack by just sacking off his Uxie. At this point, his Uxie, much like my Uxie, is basically the most expendable team member that we each have. So he's going to let his go and get me down to -1 I guess, because I do have the choice specs. So down goes the Uxie. Back comes this Necrozma, which I really do not want to let this thing just freely set up. So I'm going to punish him if he does not decide to go for a Psyshock to try and knock me out. And I'm going to go for the Draco, still doing a solid like 30-40% there, as he does end up thinking I'm going to switch out and doesn't go for the Psyshock. Goes for the Charge Beam, and now I can definitely knock him out with this next Draco Meteor. Although my Noivern is now in range of where Stealth Rocks can knock me out, I think Noivern just knocked out 3 of his Pokemon, which is absolutely amazing, because I was able to punch a hole through his team that could definitely win me this battle. So down goes the Noivern, the Necrozma finally. In comes the Pyroar. Like I said, my Noivern is going to get knocked out by Rock, so I'm just going to leave it in here for Death Water. I believe I'm at -4 or -6, so this Draco Meteor isn't going to come anywhere near close to knocking out this Pyroar, but I'm still going to be able to get off a decent bit of chip damage, as he's going to finish me off with the Hyper Voice. This does allow me, however, to get a free switch into my Lycanroc, which is actually a really cool Swords Dance Fightium Z set that I want to use again in the future. Like, I may do a live with this set. I know I've said that before, but like, I'm really thinking about it. Either way though, I should be able to freely go for a Swords Dance here, and the switch out to Pyukumuku is very obvious. If he's not unaware, +2 Stonage is going to be doing a whole lot of damage to this Pyukumuku. So that was another benefit of me just going straight for the Stone Edge, trying to find out if he is unaware or not. I meant Swords Dance, and then I go for Stone Edge. And it does turn out that he is unaware, because that Stone Edge did nothing, as he then goes for the Reflect, which is a little bit scary, because if he's got the light screen, this Pyukumuku could be a little bit harder to deal with. But thankfully Pyukumuku doesn't get any offensive moves outside of all-out pummeling, which it can use because of counter. Fun fact for those of you who didn't know that. And he does actually just go for the Recover. I'm going to go straight for the Trick. There's no way he's going to switch in the Pyroar. His best play is to just leave in Pyukumuku, sack it off here, and by tricking my Scarf to the Pyukumuku, I can prevent him from trying to stall my team out, especially if he did have the Light Screen as well, because Light Screen, Reflect, Toxic, and Recover could have been severely annoying to deal with, especially with him being unaware. So I'm just going to go straight for the Thunderbolt. At this point, I should be able to beat this Pyukumuku 1v1, because he is basically locked into Toxic, and while my Rotom may not be able to outspeed the Pyroar after I do finish off the Pyukumuku here, I do still have Lycanroc in the back with the Cell Rock, and I do still have my Virizion, both of which outspeed him. Although there is a chance he could be Scarf Pyroar, because I didn't see him take Life Orb damage. If he specs, then my Virizion still outspeeds him, but either way, at this point, my best bet is to just sack off my Rotom here. If he's got Substitute after Rocks, there's no way he's going to be able to go for it, so there's really no other move for me to do besides leaving in Rotom here for it to get knocked out by a Z move. Apparently, I didn't expect him to actually have the Z move. I thought that maybe he was going to be Spexed or Scarfed or what's it called, Flame Plate, I think, which I know was kind of used back in X and Y NU. So he is going to go for the Inferno Overdrive. This is beyond an overkill to my Rotom at this point, but it's fine, seeing as I will be able to bring in my Lycanroc. And I want to go for my own Z move, but I haven't got to use Accelerock with Lycanroc since I've used it in a couple Wi-Fi battles. I've tried it out, so I decided just to finish it off with the Accelerock, and that is going to be the victory in my favor. So good game to absoluterasa. Apologize if I said your name wrong. I know I said it wrong, I'm sorry. But yeah, guys, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to hammer arm that like button down below. If you may have missed my upload from earlier today, or my 18K special, or you want to see some other cool NU teams, all 3 of those links are down in the description, and there's also going to be 2 videos on the end screen for you guys to go check out. So with that being said, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion, but when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.